All right, everyone. Welcome back to the RePHIL studio. This is your host, SB4 here. Let's refill to 99 energy flames because we're ready for the next set. And today we have a very, very special guest on the studio today. Welcoming rintaichou to the studio, our very first, I would say, big honorary special guest on the podcast series. A brief intro. Rintaichou has a very big following on social media, including over 130 subscribers, I imagine, I think on YouTube, and over 30K followers on Twitch. They have been a very big influence on the idle games, giving you a first introduction on many games like Love Live and much more. And they are an amazing crossdresser. And lastly, they are also a big avid, one of the bigger Genshin Impact streamers right now to this date. So Rin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us at the studio today. It is a great honor to have you.
You say all of these things, and to me, it's just like, what? Really? I have done all of these things now? Wow. Who's this guy you're talking about? Jesus Christ.
It's absolutely unbelievable. I imagine even for you, it's probably a bit unbelievable to think that you've kind of made it all the way this far, getting all these milestones up to this point.
I've been doing this for so many years now. Like, I guess I've been doing this for 5-6 years. But I've just been kind of steadily growing rather than, these days, younger people getting into content creation, they just go like, they grow super fast because they have all the tools, they know what to do, they know how to bring people in. For me, it's just kind of been a steady walk up a hill kind of thing. And now that you mentioned all these things, I was like, wow, I really done all these things.
You've gone a very long way. Your journey has been very long, very rewarding, right? But definitely a very sort of big journey towards all these achievements.
Yeah, it's been a while now for sure. But hi, thanks for inviting me in.
Is there anything else you want to add to that intro, or we're good to go?
We can go back on one term. I wouldn't say cross-dressing so much these days, actually. I try to avoid that term altogether. I would just call myself a cosplayer. If anything, people do know about that. I do like to express myself in different ways, especially regarding gender expression, but I don't like to make that my focus so much. It's just something that I do, but I don't want it to be like this, what do you call it? The focus point of my content.
Exactly.
If you really whittle it down, I'm just some person that plays video games, and that's really all it should be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. It's other than that, no, I think you landed all the points. Other than, Genshin is my big thing right now. And I think more recently, a subunit name I submitted into the Love Live franchise got chosen as a group name. So that was pretty fun. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Rin, again, thank you so much for joining. There's a lot of points we're going to be talking about. It's a very, very packed agenda. I have a lot of things I want to talk with you about. So we'll get just right into it. The first thing I want to first talk about is just about getting into idle games, because of course, this is a Bang Dream podcast. We're not going to really focus as much on Bang Dream specifically in this episode, but you, when you first got really well known, one of the main things you were really well known for, and I'm sure many of our listeners would say this as well, is your influence in sort of people playing idle games and just a lot of the idle games that are around there. I know a lot of people have mentioned they love watching all your videos and just getting to know many series. But Ren, tell me first, how did you get into the idle game genre? What sort of made you interested in starting, and how did that go?
Well, so my first touch in the idle genres was Love Live, obviously. I guess there was a time, I don't know, what year was it? 2016, 2015, something like that. I wasn't having a very good time. Just kind of depressed, basically. And there's a show that I keep seeing on the internet, keep getting posted around. And I was kind of interested in it, but I never really got around to it. I'm one of those people that likes to grab an anime but never watch it for like months until they have time for it, right? Because I'm always just being busy doing something.
Mhm.
Eventually there was a moment where I had to just sit down and I was like, all right, I'm finally going to start this series. And as soon as I started it, I couldn't stop. I don't know why. It just really caught my attention. So eventually I found out it had a rhythm game, and that was something I was like always into. I've always been like a rhythm
Mm.
type gamer. So got into that, and I was in my big YouTube phase at the time, and I saw a lot of people posting their gacha kind of videos on the internet, but in like really long 10, 20, 30 minute long videos.
Ah.
So I was like, why don't I try making one, but make it really short? Something fun and easy for people to get into. And everyone loved the first one that I posted. So I started making more and more, and more people kept coming in.
Yeah.
And then my channel kind of blew up in like relatively big for like a small gacha channel or idle focused content channel. And from there, it's just, yeah, my own community would introduce new games to me. So Bang Dream eventually came in along the way,
Mhm.
and that was a good time for a while. And then, more games like D4DJ, OnStars, Idolmaster, all kinds of stuff. So, man, yeah, that's basically how I got into it.
Wow, that's great. And I Love Live was definitely sort of like, I guess, like the origin, right? Where it kind of started, or am I
For me, at
wrong?
least,
Yeah, for
yeah.
you, yeah. Okay, good. And what you recall, right? Because for right now, maybe rhythm games aren't your biggest focus right now, but um, when you recall going into those Love Live games, or the Bang Dream games eventually, and some other series, what were there any like notable, I guess, characters or units that you remember that you like faintly like just like say that you're their favorite,
Oh,
characters that you
like just a
like?
character that kind of just grabbed my attention.
Yeah.
I guess the very first time with Love Live, initially it was Nozomi when I
Hmm.
saw it on a surface level. By the time I got out of the first season with Muse, it ended up being Umi. Surprised everyone because there'd be this big joke on my channel that I didn't like Umi for the longest time, right? But no, it's not true. I actually like every character in the series. I can't find a reason for me to hate anyone or even
Hmm.
dislike, right? They've all had their own kind of charms, they have their own personalities, and together as a group, they kind of complete this uh, package of what Love Life is. And I really,
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. The one that really stuck to me though was when I got into Love Live, it was Aqua just got introduced.
Hmm.
So I grew up with them more than I did Muse. So I've a diehard Aqua stan, I would say, or fan, sorry. Yeah, and then it just kind of went from there. With Bang Dream, it wasn't really so much. It was something new, something interesting to try out.
Yeah.
But I do really appreciate the series a lot. A lot of people might be surprised though that my favorite character in there is Hina.
Hmm.
I'm not sure why. It's that Genki charm energy that she
Yeah.
has. Same with like Yo from Aqua as well. And yeah, Steve with the he's running at you emote right coming in. So yeah, but my favorite band in Bang Dream, it's wait, what are they called? I haven't been doing Bang Dream in a long time. Afterglow, that's what it
Afterglow.
was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, their whole aesthetic and music style was what really caught me and kept me with Bang Dream. I've been even thinking about picking it up again because rhythm games I can only play for so long, then I kind of get bored because it's kind of the same thing over and over again. But
Hmm.
you might want to. I just want to come back because I have that itch to just listen to some music, and Bang Dream has been wonderful for that.
Yeah, and kind of go back to your roots, right? Sometimes you miss some of the roots that you've had from before, and
Hmm.
and it's just like, oh, I want to see, like, get back to things and maybe try it once in a while, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Just kind of like picking up an old game and like, oh, this was fun. Let's try this out. See if I can full combo freaking Firebird finally. Nope. Okay, let's go somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's definitely a good goal. So maybe
yeah.
that might be something we'll see soon
Hopefully,
on your
I
content. Yeah.
the last time I picked up Bang Dream, I finally full comboed teardrops.
Hmm.
You know that part where it just stops and there's that like two slides, and then
Yeah.
from there it's like a gauntlet you had to go through, right? I finally got past that, and I was like, yes, all right, let's go, and I did. It was pretty amazing. After, I don't know what, 2-3 years of the game being out, I
That's
finally got it.
actually amazing. The
Yeah.
death sliders, we call it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually so notorious. You're definitely not the only one. So, but yeah,
So
honestly, again, Ren, it's just so cool to see how you got into the series and how you've grown so big with it. Because again, you're definitely not, you may have not heard this, you may have not have heard this, but many people, I'm sure many of our viewers said that they got into many of these games because of seeing you and seeing you wail on all these gachas. And they're like, oh, I could maybe get something like this too. And then, they
was
follow.
it the aspect of what I've done, or was it other things about what I've done that brought people?
I don't know, but it could be a mix of everything, right? But either way,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you as a person, you and how you deliver the content. I think there's a lot of factors as to how people appreciate you, giving them an influence to the rhythm games. So I don't know if you've heard of many people or many stories from people telling you that you're the reason why they got into a particular game. Do you recall a story like that?
Um, every once in a while, yeah, some people would just leave a comment saying, "Oh, you're the reason why I got into this and I'm doing this," or
Hmm.
just the general vibe, I guess I give people, like, "Oh, I always watch your videos when I do this thing or this thing." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. That's nice to hear." So kind of
Well,
keeps
yeah,
me going all the time too.
it's always nice. It's always nice. I think
Y-
you and I relate quite a bit as content creators, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we do our content, and then there's always that one like little comment here and there. It's like, oh yeah, really appreciate it, or like you helped me with this and blah blah blah. And it
Yeah.
it's really meaningful. The little small comments for sure. So
Yeah. A lot
yeah.
of people think I don't read comments, but honestly, they're not really hard to keep up with. My section of comments isn't very busy. I
Yeah.
see literally everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just really difficult to reply to everything. And then if I try to do that, that is a bit of a stress. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of try to remind people every once in a while when they come in, like, don't worry, I see everything. I just don't reply to everything because I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna stress out if I do that. But yeah, I appreciate a lot of what people leave. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite nice to hear.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads to, I guess, another question of where does this sort of content creation path start for you? So what sort of motivated you to say that I wanted to make content? So where did that
uh,
all start?
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but way back in the day on YouTube, Let's Plays was just starting on YouTube, right? A lot of people were
Mm.
getting into it.
Hmm.
My guy was actually PewDiePie. He was the guy that kind of got me inspired to start making my own content.
Oh.
Yeah. Before he's had some ups and downs in his career, right?
Most
I'm sure
definitely.
people have heard, right? But I still look up to him as a content creator. I believe he's able to get over his mistakes and move on from what he's done. I think that's really important. To own up to things that you hecked up on, essentially,
Hmm.
um, and just continue staying true to what you want to do. I believe that's what he does, and I've always modeled my stuff after that because I don't know if people keep up with my channel still right now since I've moved away from Love Live and Bang Dream and all that.
Hmm.
I've always just posted what I want or what I'm interested in. I never really followed trends too hard. I don't try to jump on hot topics where you can, start pulling in all the views or being nice to the algorithm or something like that. It's always just been, I'm interested in this thing. I'm going to make it, I'm going to post it. Then I just move on to the next thing. It's kind
Hmm.
of how it's always been for me.
I think that really brings this sort of a nice genuine feeling when people follow you, because you just want to do what you want to do, right? And people follow
Mm.
you, or in content creators in general, because they want to follow people who they know they are great people, right? Great personalities, and they have great interesting games, and you've played a lot of different games, and now
Yeah.
of course Genshin is the main thing. We'll talk about that in just a
Mm.
bit later. But I think also in general, right? Your content also sort of started with, I guess your passion and hobby for cosplaying. Again, thank you for correcting
Mm.
me on that. Your cosplaying. How did that start off in terms of getting into this particular hobby of cosplaying? Where did that
I
all
don't
start?
I don't know if it's something you get into. It's just something I was born with. I was
Mm-hmm.
always been like this since I was a kid. I've always been interested in just dressing up and makeup and stuff like that since I was like, I knew for sure when I was by 6 years old. Uh, and then when I got older, like say like 19, I finally decided, all right, I'm gonna learn how to do my own makeup, and I had my own job, so I was finally able to buy my own things. And just over the years, it's just been kind of this self-taught process. But going almost 2 decades not being able to do it, then finally being able to do it was just huge. So I've always
Mhm.
been, I feel like I've always been like a creative entertainment type person. So finally, once I got the tools, everything just kind of all came out at once, and I just kept going with it because I knew I liked doing it.
Yeah, that's honestly amazing, and you've touched upon this before as well, right? Like, being able to freely express yourself, and I think
Mm,
these past couple of years, right, in these very different times in the world, I think these past couple of years, I think gave us a lot of time for us to sort of reflect and be able to learn a little bit more about ourselves, and I'm sure that you're the same with yourself as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely for sure.
yeah.
This because I work from home. I still hold a full time job actually.
Hmm.
While I do everything here, I don't do content creation full time. It's not my main source of income. But I still work a Monday to Friday 8 hour day job, and then well, now I'm just at home, right, because of the pandemic currently going on and
Hmm.
working from home. So I have an office in my apartment on one end of the room that I keep
Hmm.
separate from here. And then once I'm done over there, I come back over to the main station, I guess, and just continue on with what I do. So it's just constantly working all the time. Yeah.
Does that tire you at any point? Like, having to
Uh
do work and then go back home, and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta post my Amber clips here and there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just well, like with the YouTube and everything, like it's been always a hobby. I just like making videos and playing video games and making videos of playing video games. So I don't really feel like it's a job. It's just something I do, and I don't make it feel like a job because I quite enjoy every minute of it. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. I was gonna add something to that. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, something like it's just I like what I do, so it doesn't never. I don't get tired, but
Yeah.
I probably should try to sleep more. Yeah.
Yeah, sleep is always pretty
Yeah.
important, I suppose. So I know for a lot of people, sleep is probably the least priority for many, but
Hmm.
sleep's pretty important for sure.
Yeah.
Ren, again, it's great to hear about like the like kind of how where it all started from you. Again, it's very cool to see how like your content has grown so much since within the past couple of years. I remember personally because again, for those who maybe aren't aware, for listeners, we Ren and I we're locals, right? We're
Yeah.
technically neighbors. Like if I really
Yeah.
wanted to, I could walk over and be like, "Hi, Ren."
You are literally well, without revealing the name of the city, I think you might have on your stuff. I had to
Yeah,
go look you up just to make sure, but I was like, "Oh, you live literally in the same city as me,"
yeah.
because in my profile, I listed as Vancouver, but I don't really like, I just it's kind of a generalization for most people that live around, like, "Oh, we
Yeah,
live in Vancouver," right? But really, there's, like, the greater Vancouver
yeah,
area or Metro
yeah.
Vancouver, right? I live literally in the same city as you, although I'm more on the southwest end where it's called
Mm-hmm.
Burquitlam,
Mm-hmm.
uh, right around that area. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, crap." So you must have gone to, like, Summer Festival and all the other anime cons around here for sure then,
Yes,
yeah?
exactly. Exactly. I was just
Right,
gonna mention
right.
that because again, it's really cool that we're actually locals. We could if there wasn't this pandemic situation, honestly, I would have loved to actually do this in person.
Yeah, that would've been fun.
Maybe in the future,
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah, for
when we
sure.
have some things going on and things improve,
Mm,
I would think that might be some thing in the future for in terms of agenda. But yeah, as you mentioned, going into Summerfest, I did remember. I think it was like one of the Summerfest. I think it was like 2017. I was going up into the mountain in that university, and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then you were hosting, right? I was just like, oh wow, this Rin person, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. I've
And then like
hosted
it's like,
the
oh
last
yeah, I
2,
just
yeah.
see them in person, and then like afterwards, I realized that you were like relatively well known, and people were like, oh, it'd be so cool to meet Rin. I'm like, oh, well, I literally just see them emceeing in front of like people, holding
Yeah,
like a watermelon. There was like some watermelon hitting contest or something.
that whole like, I don't even go to SFU University. That's the
Yeah,
thing, right? I'm just some guy with a group of friends that happen to go there, and I help them out.
yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
I
what
yeah,
a
totally
great funny time. And again, it was just like by pure coincidence that I sort of got to know you a little bit more. Right, we didn't even talk like pretty much at all, I don't think. But like I just got to know that, oh yeah, Rin Senpai back at the when you were
yeah,
Rin Senpai.
right,
So, oh yeah,
right.
Rin Senpai was there at this con, and people were like, wow, that's like so cool. So
Yeah.
it was pretty quite interesting there. Um, Speaking of cons, it's been a while since we've done cons.
It's well, I did a little one in Seattle not too long ago, back in like November. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
invited as
Northwest Idol
a
Fest.
yeah, I was invited as a guest to that one, so that was kind of cool. I really wanted to travel really bad, right? So
Hmm.
fortunately, everything all lined up, and I was allowed to get to go down there. So and just being around like people in a fandom around stuff like that was just this like such a good feeling. It was amazing just to be sociable again and have fun within means, right? We're all trying to practice, good habits with cleanliness and all that.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was fun. Other than that, no, there hasn't been anything going on. I barely go out of my apartment now. I'm home
Hmm.
most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunate times, right? Again, you never, no one have thought what this would have been a thing many years ago. And there's a lot of parts about cons where I personally miss a lot. Like the main thing is social interaction. Obviously, cons also have a very distinct aroma that brings fun as well. But
Yeah.
I think in general, cons, one thing that like I miss a lot, and especially these past couple of years have really I guess really shown is just the amount of social interaction we miss. And I'm sure that you have some very fond memories, or at least just being able to finally be able to interact with people when you visited Seattle back in November.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. How did that go? By the way, I know again it was a first year con. I was wanted to ask you about like it was a first year con, and you're being invited as a guest for an idol convention, which again, right at this moment in time, it's not like your main focus, but again, your
Mhm.
origins are what people remember and people appreciate. So how was that overall experience in that con?
It was pretty fun. I
Yeah.
loved it was just again, night being around people was very nice. It was a first time con, so it wasn't like too busy. I
Hmm.
was able to just walk around freely without being like hounded by people essentially, right? But
Yeah.
there were a lot of there was a person. Apparently they traveled where did they come from again? I don't know, but like 5, 6, 7 states over all the way down to Seattle just to see me or something like that,
Wow.
which was, weird to hear, but, like, very, it was nice. It felt like, "Oh, I did something good for somebody." That's cool because they came with their father, and their father was just talking to me on the side and just saying like, "Oh, it's so nice that you've done all these cool and good things for people." It's like, "Please, I'm just a human. I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to do my thing here." Right, I don't deserve this praise. It's really weird. That's another thing too. A lot of people leave these comments saying, "Oh, you do this and this and this," and just please don't idolize me. Please don't. I'm just a person. I
Hmm.
just want to play games. I don't. I'm trying to keep my ego like in check because
Hmm.
yeah, people keep pumping my ego too much. It's gonna go crazy. So yeah, it's just I try to. I don't like calling myself humble, but I try to stay humble about things.
Yeah, for
So
sure. For
yeah,
sure.
I'm just like you guys. I'm a big fan of idle game. I just want to, connect with people. It's fun. We can
Yeah,
just talk
yeah.
about whatever. Yeah.
And it's really neat to note that you mentioned that. I know a lot of people again, you and me, we're again content creators, but we're not like the big super big, right? So like when
Yeah.
content creators get like a lot of people, like a lot of people sort of idolizing them, that as you mentioned, it could boost their ego and push them over an edge that like is pretty unhealthy. So it's
Mhm.
great that you kind of have that sort of recognition. At the end of the day, right? We're all people, that we all have these hobbies, and I know a lot of people really still, regardless, still appreciate the content you've done. And again,
Right. Yeah.
we're sure that it's still like it's good to sort of understand that sort of boundary between being able to be a fan, but also understand that you want to make sure that it's sort of a healthy sort of relationship between streamer viewers and all the fans out there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's really neat. And when you really, I guess this also leads to like when you got really big, right? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not sure if I want to go back to that deep into the origins, but I think it was one particular meme that really got you really big.
I've had a few.
A few memes.
It's weird to say, but I've had a few viral hits on the internet. I've been around.
I think I have one. I think the one.
Okay. What's the one that you got?
I think the one that I recall was the one where it was just like everything you knew was a lie or something.
Okay,
that one's the big one. But
that one, was it really big? Because I've only ever seen it in one big channel's kind of like react, try not to laugh challenge.
Okay.
I've only ever seen it in that. And then other than like Twitter of it going around, but I haven't ever really seen it in other just channels or anything like that. Actually, hang on. There was one more. You remember I think they're still around, it was the Fine Bros React channel?
Oh, yes.
Yes. I think it was in there too once. That was it. That was, I think, the biggest channel I've ever seen that meme go into.
Wow.
Yeah. But I try not to connect myself with that meme anymore.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't want to go too deep into the origin stories.
No, it's fine. So. Like it's good for me to like reflect on it and be like, oh yeah, I used to be a POS back in the day, but I've kind of moved on from that now because I don't really like to use my abilities with cosplay to trick people into that kind of sort of situation anymore. It could lead to kind of like dangerous behavior and all kinds of derogatory things being thrown around. I'm really this is my gender expression. This is how I look. That's it. Moving on. So no, it's totally okay to touch upon it. It's cool.
Yeah, and then going back, right, when you first kind of became popular, what was that sort of reaction, and how did you, and you already mentioned, right, you want to try to make sure you keep your ego in check, but like, what was your sort of like an initial reaction when, really things got really blew up in terms of your popularity and people really starting to, to follow you and such?
Oh, for sure. Like anyone, I think if this happened to them, you'd be checking up on it all the time. Oh, I got new comments. Who saw it? How many views did I get this day? You're always bragging to your friends about my memes going around. Oh, check this out, right? Because any new content creator who's relatively, pretty small and quiet, the first thing that they land, of course they're gonna be excited. They're gonna want to like be proud of it, and that's fine. That's totally cool. So, it's just when it happens too much, then the person doesn't know when to slow down and just think about, and then they kind of stick to this like one thing that they did and don't move on from that. Right? That's what I was kind of worried about. It's like, I hope I'm not known for just this. So I kind of used that moment of like my moment in the spotlight, I guess to say, was to really start to do more things while people were still there. And fortunately, it did kind of work out for me that I was able to retain some of that extra exposure from like a viral thing, and then kind of just keep growing from there. Actually, to this day, some people are fighting about that meme still, right? They'd be like, "What? That was you?" Is like, yeah, that was me.
The old origin stories.
Old origin stories. Again, it's just like it was a thing in the past. Whatever. That's just how it is.
I think that's like that brings a real interesting discussion. I remember, I think it was like some video I saw before where maybe one of the most dangerous things is just being well known for just like one thing, and that's it, and that's what people only latch to, and that really is like even more I guess difficult and really tiring to deal with than just not being known at all. Where you're just known for that one thing and that's it. So anything else you do, people are like, I just go back to that one thing that you do, and it's just
they kind of get stuck to this thing, the one thing you do, and then when you attempt to move out of it, they don't want it. Right? They get upset that you even try to do something like heaven forbid you have other interests. Fortunately with mine, it's my channels, you'll notice that it's kind of been in waves. It did focus on cosplay and makeup for a while, right? And then here and there, there's like some gameplay things that weren't really doing too hot. Then eventually I brought in the Love Live into it, and then that kind of really took the channel off for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started to slow down, and then in the middle of that, somewhere I found Genshin, and now that's kind of taken off. And that's kind of where I am right now. So.
And again, Genshin, of course, it's the big, super big thing right now. I did
Yeah.
remember, Rin, when I was going back to a little bit of the con discussion. I was preparing to go to what was it, Care Expo 2019, which that was like now a long time ago. In December of 2019, just right before the pandemic hit. I was like, I was sort of I wouldn't say necessarily conned. I put myself in a situation where I had to cosplay as Himari. And I was like, okay, well, I want to make this as like legit as possible. So I gotta like learn some makeup stuff. And I was like, oh, first person I thought, I was like, oh yeah, Ren. I could look at some of these Ren videos and see, what advice I get, and a bunch of other friends as well. So it's really cool to see how your content again has grown from that. And then now going into Genshin is pretty big too. What part of Genshin do you find to be like what at first sort of maybe conned you to get into the game and kind of get stuck in there?
All my friends were playing it, right? And they wouldn't shut up about it. So I was like, fine, I'll try it out, but I'll do it secretly, and I'm gonna like surprise them when I'm like super high level or whatever. Unfortunately or fortunately for me, I was like, oh, this game is actually kind of fun. So it just kind of took off from there. And then once I got deep enough and knew that, okay, this game is fun, let's try making videos about it. Let's see how this goes. And yeah, a lot of people like what I do. So just kept up with it.
Yeah. And of course, people might already know this, but Ren, you are very well known to be sort of one of the very rare Amber mains out there.
I'm happy that you said one of the, because everyone keeps saying the Amber main. Like, no. I'm one of many.
The reason why I say one of the, because I'm an Amber main as well.
Let's go. Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear.
So
perfect.
So what kind of again, just to go a little bit more deeper, like what about Amber do you like? Is it also like just again the Genki kind of characters that just kind of
Genki characters, man? They get me. They kill me inside. I scream and cry about it. I don't know, right? Her character design, color scheme. I'm also Genshin is a bit weird when it comes to like shooters and aiming and like that, but I have an extensive like FPS gaming background as well. I've been through Overwatch, I've been through Counter-Strike for many years, Team Fortress and all kinds of stuff like that. Then I stopped because competitive gaming stressed me out. Hated it. It'd make me very toxic, right? So I just said, okay, no more PvP type games. And then Genshin came around, and then it's not the best with its shooting, but I still was able to retain all that skill, I guess, from FPS gaming. So I've always just liked shooters, so I just stuck with playing Amber anyway.
Wow, and it just again a Genki character fits the sort of play style, right? So it all kind of works out.
Came together perfect. So
that's amazing, and it's funny because you said you had like a big like FPS sort of background. Me, I had zero FPS background, and trying to play Genshin and play Amber because I saw Amber. I'm like, okay, I have to play her because I also think it's also kind of in my sort of personal personality or like, oh, like this person or this character is not really well loved, or this character is considered, heaven forbid, we call them low tiers, right? Even though like there's no such thing
underdog,
as, there's no such thing as tiering in Genshin because there's no PvE or PvP, so whatever. But anyway, this person's not getting a lot of love, so I'm gonna try and like make sure I give them the love that they need. So Amber was that girl. So, with my lack of FTP, knowledge. It was rough at first, but
fortunately Genshin's not hard when it comes to like aiming. Everything's pretty easy, so it's pretty forgiving. It won't like scare people away because the game is pretty easy. Sometimes too easy, I think. But,
But you that's why the game is hopefully trying to find ways to add content and improve, and we could have a whole discussion on Genshin. It's definitely a very very interesting game. And I know maybe you have also mentioned this, but I know we have some maybe some inner rumblings about like the company itself, right? MiHoYo,
Yeah.
but the game is great. The developers did a good job. MiHoYo themselves, a little
Yeah.
not so great.
There's opinions there. I try to not talk about it too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some opinions there, but either way, it's great to see that again. You got it. You got into Genshin, and it's your content has been very, very, very neat. I also want to just quickly mention that I think your one of your main teams that you use is just sort of like the Mondstadt ladies, right? So that's Eula, Lisa, Jean, and Amber, I think.
Well, I wouldn't say I use a team. It's mostly just solo Amber,
Yeah.
actually.
If you had to use a
Um,
team, though.
if I had to use a team, it'd be Amber, Eula, now Rosaria, actually, and Kokomi is mixed into there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, that's a really, really cool. I remember, I think I watched like one of your streams once, and you were using the Mondstadt ladies team, just like for whatever reason.
I was probably just memeing around.
Yeah, you were just. It was
really
just like
thinking.
out of context, and I was just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's my team."
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I rolled for Eula to Constellation 6, actually, and got her weapon all the way to rank 5 as well, just for Amber. So
Wow.
that's why I did that, yeah.
Yep. Gotta love those two, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that you're very happy at the expense of your wallet's feelings.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing about the kind of content I'm able to make,
Mhm.
because like it's no secret. You can claim it as sort of like a business expense almost,
Yeah.
provided you can show that you are making a profit.
Mhm.
So yeah, like making gacha content becomes sort of like part of your job. So you have
Mhm.
to spend money to make video. So yeah, my wallet is just like, oh, here it goes again. Another like couple $100 to this. And it's like, all right, here we go. Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, I try to tell people, especially with Genshin, you don't need to have all this and that just to excel in the game. We'll find a way to make it work too. That's like the big message with Genshin, and what I do is like, whoever you want to play, whatever you have, there's a way to make it work for sure.
Hey guys, it's Phil here. Hope you're enjoying the episode so far. The RePHIL Studio is now available on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Check us out on YouTube, but of course as well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Be sure to subscribe so you're up to date with the latest episodes whenever they're released. And be sure to give ratings and comments and spread the word. All that engagement is greatly appreciated to spread the word about the RePHIL Studio podcast. Of course, special thanks to all my Filler Nation members who've been constantly supporting me and my content throughout this journey with the RePHIL Studio. So if you would like to support the RePHIL Studio and my content and greatly appreciate it, consider joining by subscribing to my Twitch below or by joining my Patreon. Links in the description below, and any support is greatly appreciated. We have a new sister channel. You can check it out in the card above, where there's going to be exclusive content, including my Twitch VODs, as well as a sister project for the RePHIL Studio that will be happening in the future. So definitely check it out and be sure to give a subscribe. And of course, feel free to join our Unga Academy Discord server, where we have a fun, loving community, and interact with our members there, be able to contribute to the studio question that's featured in the podcast every week, and get to know a little bit more about our special guests featured in the podcast. So we hope to see you there. This episode will be resuming shortly. Again, if there was ever PvP in Genshin, oh man, that would be like so toxic.
I would hate it, but I would get drawn into it, I'm sure, and then yeah, it'd be a totally different type of content that'd be coming out.
That'd be like
I am a terror in PvP type things. I get mad, I get toxic, I get really ruthless. Even with a game like, you remember when Fall Guys was a huge thing?
Oh yeah.
I was a menace. I would push people off platforms. I would block them. I would, do emotes on them and all that stuff, just because I thought it was funny as hell, right? So, but it's all just a game to me, right? I don't try to take it serious. Till it happens to me, then I get really angry. So I try to stay away from PvP games as much as I can.
I'm kind of like on the same boat because again, I think when I first kind of got into not necessarily content creation, but I guess just in general, like people sort of know me really well as a guy who plays a lot of fighting games. in
Oh
particular
boy.
Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers was like my main thing for sure, and I was actually
Yeah.
pretty good in like our area. I was considered actually one of the better players, but
God
you
damn.
know, I never really like I enjoyed, I guess, the bit of the competitive aspect, but I guess myself, what I really found was I wasn't really too much of a competitive person. I just wanted to kind of have fun, and
Mm-hmm.
people like saw that because I didn't. Again, I played like underappreciated underdog characters
Yeah.
anyway as well. So um, you know, I really just want to play and have fun. But then, as you mentioned, it does take a bit of toll when you know everyone else is sort of around you that's like super competitive, and you want to like be kind of follow suit. And when you don't meet the expectations, it's like, oh man, it's
Yeah, I used to play Smash a lot actually.
mhm,
Um, and I was pretty good at it in my area, as you said, right?
mhm.
Till one day I met this one guy and he just completely destroyed me, right? And it just kind of took the wind out of my sails with the rest of playing Smash, and I just kind of stopped from there. I
Is
really
this
keep up
guy
with
that
it.
you fought like someone who's like well known in our area?
Is he well known in our area?
Do you know his
He does
tag?
have a Twitter handle. I think it's Radcore or something like that.
Hardcore. Okay,
His
well,
name is his name's Darius.
oh,
You know
oh,
Darius around the area?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
He's like I think he's a DJ now. He mixes a
Oh,
lot of
yes,
music.
I do know him. Yes, I do know him.
Yeah,
Oh
he destroyed me in
man,
Smash. He completely destroyed me. I was like, "Wow, I suck at this game. I'm never playing again."
that is so old school. I think like he was one of the
Yeah.
first people that I met in the community there back
Yeah,
then
he
too.
must have been for sure, definitely.
Oh, that's
Uh,
so funny.
yeah, I we were playing Melee, so fuck, I didn't know how to do anything that he was doing, right? So I was a Nest main back in the day.
Oh
So,
no!
yeah, I was Nest, obviously very slow. We definitely got nerfed going from 64 to Melee, so yeah, I
Yikes,
just couldn't keep up with it anymore.
man. I feel old, or no, I guess I usually feel old in like this particular community I in with like you know
Yeah.
Bang Dream and stuff, but like hearing you know like hearing
Hearing that,
my
is
good
that just
buddy
like, "Oh,
Darius
man."
playing comparing 64 to Melee, and me, I started my sort of Smash career in Smash 4 and a Wii U. Now I'm kind of feeling a little young now.
Yeah, I found his Twitter. I'll drop his Twitter in the lounge right now. This is the
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yes,
Right there.
I do know
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
I do
that's
know
cool.
him.
Oh, you do
That's
follow him,
great.
I see him. Yeah, yeah,
That's so cool. I'm gonna give him a shout out. I'll let him know that we gave him a shout out. And
yeah. If you hear this, Darius, I remember that. I still remember you destroying me in Melee.
did he play Fox or Marth?
He played Fox.
Oh
He
my god,
did.
of
He
course.
did. I got killed. I was like, "Oh, shit." So,
Silly
no,
ass top
it's good
tiers.
fun. Good shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think again at the end of the day, right? It's all like to me it's like all fun and games and stuff, right? So like I really started to lose the competitive drive quite a bit. Especially when I got into from Smash 4 to Smash Ultimate, and again, I know a lot of people here may play a Smash Ultimate. I personally hate the game. I like Smash 4 a lot more, even though everyone hates Smash 4. Like I don't know, I'm just weird.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, I just didn't really. I lost a bit of that competitive drive for whatever reason, and then I stumbled upon rhythm games and anime girls.
Ah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Good old rhythm game. Yeah, I was a big DDR kid back in the day. I
Oh
used to play
yeah.
it for many, many, many years. Many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty. Again, I'm not really sure how I personally rhythm games. I never really played too much when I was young, but then I don't know. There's something about Bang Dream when I saw. I didn't even get into like Love Live that much.
Yeah.
I knew Love Live and I had some friends who were into it, but I just couldn't really get into it myself. And then I don't know. There's something about Bang Dream personally that was just like, oh, okay,
Did
well, I'll try it
you
out.
watch the anime for Love Live? Did you watch the Bang Dream anime as well or anything
I
like that?
watched the Love Live anime and I thought it was kind of corny. So that's why I didn't give like Aquars a chance. Which
Yeah.
honestly, my friends were like, "Oh, you got to give Aquars a chance because
Oh,
like they're
man.
like way better than the OG." I'm like, I think I've already moved
I
past
mean,
it.
the OG paved the way for Aqua. I think
Yeah,
both deserve their own recognition in their own
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
But no, I'm totally into like corny slice of life stuff. It
yeah.
keeps my mind off like real life. So I'm totally for it.
One thing I did do that I was very committed was I went to a con in Victoria. It's called SakinoCon. I think that was the year where Ono Kensho joined, who is the voice actor of
okay.
Kuroko from Kuroko no Basket. He was just randomly there for whatever reason, so he was a guest.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care too much about the con, so like went there to meet the dude, and then on the other day, I went there specifically to a movie theater to watch the Love Live movie. I think it was Love Live.
Oh,
What was it called? Love Live Sun? No, it was just the OG Love Live movie.
yeah, Sunshine movie never premiered out in here, I don't
Yeah,
think.
so it was in Victoria though, so we went there
Yeah.
just to specifically watch it and be able to satisfy this guy's wants, one of my friends' wants of actually watching the movie. And the one part about I remember, I don't know if you watched the movie, but I don't know, it just kind of felt like freaking Honoka is like a time traveler, like she's a god or something.
No, like she controls time. Can we talk with spoilers for
Yeah,
this movie?
sure. Why not? Spoiler tag
Yeah.
right here. If you haven't watched the Love Live tag, I'll like next 2 minutes you could just skip.
She runs into this adult person in the middle of New York without a specified name, but she has the exact same face, a darker shade of orange for her hair, and she's a complete airhead. How do you not connect that this is just Honoka, but in the future somehow? But all these parallel timelines are like going across each other or something like that.
It was weird.
It was weird. But
I went back to the movie. I'm like, did I enjoy it? I'm like, yes, but did I understand? I'm like, no.
no, it's like the deeper meaning of the whole thing. It's just this really roundabout way of saying, oh, just follow your dreams and be happy or
and your
whatever,
future
right?
self will somehow find you and tell you that.
I guess, right? Yeah, because Honoka can control time, Chica can control the weather. I don't know what Ayumu can do.
Honoka can also control the weather. I remember in part of the anime, it was like, I think it was, was it like, it was like near the end where like it was a concert and it was all raining and they're like, no, like we can't do the performance in the rain. And then Honoka was just like, rain, go away. And then it just went away. I'm just like, okay.
Something like that. I can't remember. And then the feather symbolism. And then now Riera's out now with like a 5-member squad.
Yeah.
And they're trying all kinds of new things with that. Love Live. Love Live's getting more interesting as it goes on because they do one thing and then, all right, this works. Let's put all of our investments into Aqua. And it just went crazy. It's super successful right now. Yeah. And then they're trying new things with Nijigaku. And more recently, they have a global representation, 3 new characters that are part of the Nijigaku squad. So they have someone that represents America, one that represents China, and then they have their Japanese connection in there, which is really cool. And then Riera is just this other project they're trying out with only 5 members this time, and it's done really well too. So I'm just more excited to see what they do as they keep going here.
Love Live is one of those franchises where it just feels like they're just not going to go away. They're always going to find themselves to be relevant for a good way and in a good way. And, just be able to continue that trend off. It's going to be a really like weird timeline or a weird day where like, if like Love Live just for whatever reason, just completely stops. But
yeah,
I don't see that happening.
Idolmaster's still around, right? So if they're still around, Love Live could just still be around just as easy. So we'll see what happens.
Idol fans are strong.
Yeah, they're something. When they get organized, they can do a lot of things.
yeah. I think the most crazy thing is just every time I see that like one annual reminder post of like Snow Halation aging, and it's like Snow Halation is 7 years old, Snow Halation is 8 years old, 9 years old, now it's 10 years old. I'm just like, oh my god.
It's a Christmas theme song now. I was at the Love Live Fest back in 2020. It was like the 9-year anniversary, I think, for Love Live.
Oh yeah.
And that was, they brought back Muse into that event after being off for like 5 years or so. To do a performance in front of everyone. I remember sitting in the crowd there because I won the lottery to go to this event. I was only like 4 rows from the front in the center where they would all go down the catwalk and be right there, right? So I was really close to them, basically. Before the performance started, everyone's in the main hall and everyone's like listening to the music that's just playing, right? As soon as Snow Halation went on, everyone just was synchronized. It was crazy. It felt so weird. I had chills going up and down my back. Everyone was like just in sync with the music. And then finally when they showed up to actually perform Snow Halation, it was crazy. I had so much goosebumps on my arm. I choked up. It was it was the weirdest feeling I've ever had over just
Yeah.
like music being played because all these emotions come back from when you first got into Love Live just all hit you in the face right there.
Man.
And yeah, it's I don't know, it's just such a surreal experience, let's say, to just go through.
Absolutely. Even like me, like again, I'm not a huge Love Live fan by any means, but just
Mm.
watching those videos of like the synchronization of like, oh, reminding you that Snow Halation is a grandpa now or grandma or
Yeah.
whatever, an elder.
Yeah.
It's just seeing like the synchronization of that. I was just like, well, that seems pretty cool. That'd be really cool to see, live maybe one day. But
Oh my god.
yeah.
Have you ever been to any of the delayed viewings around our area? I'm sure you have,
I've
like,
I've
Bang
I've
Dream and stuff.
went to the delay viewings just mostly for Bang Dream, not necessarily.
Mhm. The Bang Dream ones,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
they're pretty fun to watch, right? Do
yeah.
you get involved with, like, the voting and, like,
Oh yeah,
everything to like
definitely.
that?
But back
Yeah.
in the day, like again, like just even right before the pandemic, and that was like when it was happening. Like
Mm.
it was funny because I wasn't still really in that much into Bang Dream or like idol culture as much, and it's
Right.
funny because like even my friends, like my IRL friends, and I think to this day they still have the sentiment they really don't like Woda culture. They kind of shame on it.
No, okay, no, hear me out. Listen here. I
Yeah,
used to think it was cringy as heck,
yeah,
right? Watching people do that,
yeah.
and I take all of that back. I get it now. I totally understand why people do it. As soon as you go to a live performance of them actually being there, you'll
Mhm.
understand. You'll understand right
Definitely.
away and very fast that it is okay, and you just sing your heart out with them. It's so fun. It's so,
Yeah.
so fun.
One
Yeah.
100%. Like again, those
Yeah.
live performances. And again, even before, like again, it was first delayed viewings and I was like, kind of joining in them very sort of casually with them.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
a lot of fun regardless. Some people get a little bit too crazy, so I kind of avoid those guys,
Yeah,
but
like, I get it, like, you're at a delayed viewing, I wouldn't, like, bring up the UOs in front of everyone kind of thing, I'd
I,
save that for, like, the real thing, but to each their own, if you wanna create that immersion for you, like, you're there, go ahead. I'll
yeah,
support it.
yeah, but either way, like again, I've heard some of the great things about the delay viewings here, for Love Live, and again, I've attended a few for the Bang Dream, and I remember like because it's in a movie, it's just a regular movie theater, like a random, like
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
very typical movie theater. So you're just like in the theater, and then have staff walk in. And they're just like, what the hell is going on? Because they just walk in and people with these lights are like shooting in all directions. And they're
Yeah.
like, you know how you cannot film or like do any film inside the movie theater because obviously copyright and all that fun stuff.
Right,
But the
right, right,
movie
right.
attendees themselves are filming
Yeah, yeah, they're
the
just doing it
people
anyway.
inside because
Who's
it's
gonna
just
stop
so
them?
hilarious.
Mm. It's pretty crazy, so
Yeah.
um,
Again, I had the pleasure to actually attend a live, which was Cara Expo 2019, when Roselia and Razor
oh,
Suilin were
yes.
there. So I
How
did
was
actually,
yeah,
attend a
yeah.
live, and it was crazy. The
I
feeling
bet, right? Oh my god,
it was
especially with
amazing.
they can play their own instruments too, which is amazing, and
Yeah,
singing all that, right? So, I wish I
absolutely.
could go witness one of those too for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll see. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
again,
hopefully one of these days.
yeah, again, hopefully, again, we'll see how this pandemic situation turns out, and hopefully we could get back to like a new normal of sorts, and maybe
Mm.
preferably America get their stuff together. It's all up to you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. But yeah, again, I remember talking with some staff on Northwest Idol Fest. I'm like, hey, can we have some overseas guests? And they're like, maybe. So maybe we'll have overseas guests as close as here, in Seattle, but otherwise, Care Expo this year, maybe that will be another goal.
Cara Expo is a fully Bushimo funded event, is it?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
is it
yeah,
it is, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
now, Love Live, they've gone through a different well, with their game app at least, they're going through a different developer,
Mhm.
but it's still all labeled under Bushimo, so maybe there'll be more Love Live Bang Dream D4DJ collaborations coming up,
Maybe
which I'm really excited for, hopefully,
that would be
right?
really cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I'm sure that they'll find a way to bring like Aquars back to AX or something,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they'll do their performance in LA earthquake and all that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
man,
Oh,
there's
man.
some really amazing like things that have happened in the past like couple of years, but I feel like centuries because of what's going on right now. But
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, it's crazy. So But yeah, it's really great to just hear all these stories. I'm just like, wow, like that happened, right? That's something that happened like years
That's something
ago.
they danced through an earthquake, everyone. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's pretty neat for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
Red, we're gonna probably wrap up pretty soon. But before we wrap up, I'm just gonna get the chance for some of our live viewers to
Yeah, for
ask
sure. Totally.
just a few questions here. So we're gonna maybe get a few people to ask. So if you do have a question, live viewers, you can ask that, and then we'll wrap things up.
Yeah, for sure.
So we already have a question here. I'm sure you could read it, but I'm just going to read it out for our listeners who will listen to us later. What are your thoughts on your infamous Junkrat video, and what made you decide to pivot from Love Live to Genshin? I know over the years you've talked about how you wish you could pivot away from gacha pull videos, and glad to see that Genshin gave you that chance. Keep up the good work.
So let's answer that first. Thank you for the question. What are my thoughts on the infamous Junkrat video? Well, I only uploaded that video. Pardon me. One night I was just playing with some friends. Just, you just hop on into a chat, play some Overwatch or whatever game you're playing, right? And then one of the games we walked into, this guy just started talking in this perfect Junkrat impression, right? I thought it was super funny. So I was like, I'll just record it and just share it on the Reddit later. I didn't expect to get it like 1.7 million views or whatever it has right now.
That's crazy.
Something like that, right? That was my first taste on like what would it be like if I did YouTube as a career. It was pretty nuts. My channel wasn't even about Overwatch at that time, right? I just post, like I said, anything that amuses me, it gets made into a video just because I want to share it with people, right? So I shared that, and then just that Junkrat, that was around the same time I was getting into Love Live, and it was kind of growing. So like two things happening at once on my channel just was a really interesting combination of people just coming in. And I mentioned earlier, like, I don't want to be caught just being like a one trick person, right? So I tried to like keep making stuff around that time just to really show people like, oh, this is what I'm about. This is what we do. And yeah, that was kind of a very lucky hit for me, essentially. That, yeah, I play a little bit of Overwatch, but I also do this thing. And people are like, oh, that's cool. That's pretty nice. And the person that was in that video, we got to be friends for a while, actually. I connected with them and like, hey, is it cool if I post this? Do you want like a share of the revenue? Like, no, man, it's cool. Because that person was this really famous Minecraft YouTuber, actually. Right. Unfortunately, though, that person actually passed away just a few months ago because they got caught with COVID and hypothermia. So I kind of keep that video up. Now, I don't know if I should take it down or something like that, right? But it's like one of the few memories of this guy that's out there still. And the answer to the other part of the question, you was talking about gacha videos. I don't think I pulled away from gacha videos per se. I've definitely done it less. I think it's more like I've managed to pull away from just doing Love Live. Just, there isn't much to do in Love Live these days. It's kind of been the same formula. Same with like other rhythm and idol games too, like Bang Dream and D4DJ. It's kind of like, oh, new card came out. Let's try to roll for it. Okay, we're done, right? I just kind of got bored of doing that formula over and over again. I needed to do something else. And Genshin was a different type of game first. It wasn't rhythm. So it's like, all right, an adventure game that happened to have gacha in there. It's like, oh, crap. That's where all my money's going now, I guess, right? Right. So yeah, I just kind of went into that. Fortunately, I just like Genshin as a game, even without its gacha aspect. I'm really invested in the lore of it, actually. That's why I've been keeping up with it. But it's not like I've gone away from Love Live or anything like that, too. I still keep up with it, just a lot more quieter. And anytime Love Live shows up on my channel now, it's through a collaboration with Umida, because we're doing this little Love Live All Stars kind of project thing, this kind of draft pick competitive PvP style Love Live thing that he's made up. And it's been very interesting. It doesn't do very well on my channel, but it does pretty well in his. So I'm happy it's working for someone here. So I'm just glad to keep up with it.
Yeah. And by the way, Umida, another big, relatively well-known name, also a local here. So just keep that in mind. All these really well-known people, they also happen to live in the same area. We're a little bit more tight-knit than...
Something about idle games, Canadians... living on the West Coast. What's the deal?
I remember seeing Umida in Anime Revolution in one of the cons where he was trying to convince people to go join Bang Dream. So he like made a lecture of like what Bang
Oh
Dream is
yeah, yeah, I
about.
remember
It's
that. I remember
so
that panel.
funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were both like going into Bang Dream too as well. I remember that.
That was
Yeah.
so funny because it was like actually unironically like one of the most boring lectures ever. But it was a good lecture. It was a very informative lecture, but it was a
Mm.
little bit on the info heavy side. He wanted to have people to play multi-lives, but the lecture got a
Oh,
little bit long, so he couldn't have
Umina's
time.
like that though. He's very like analytic and graphs and stacks, but he does his work homework, right? He's really good at what he does for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's definitely not for a lot of people. It's definitely for like a certain group of people that love that kind of stuff. Where they want to like min max everything
Yeah.
or work with what they have. Where someone like me, it's like, oh, pretty girl, I want her on my team.
Yeah.
And then off we go, right? So.
No, he's great. His
Yeah,
panel was
no,
actually so good because even as like a Bang Dream fan, I was like, wow, I didn't actually know this lore like back behind it, so it was really neat. But again, it didn't give people the opportunity to actually play, unfortunately. But it was a good panel.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah. And going back to the other part to your question, when you or what the first question you got, like I think couldn't you imagine like if your content creation path was like so different, where like again we talked about how you didn't want to be like a one trick pony, but well, like what if like the only thing that you were recognized was just for that one Overwatch thing, and you just had to be like an Overwatch content creator.
I had a couple of Overwatch videos on the channel. They all done horribly though, right?
Yeah.
So like I say like I make things that I like, but with Overwatch, I don't know what I could make other than just gameplay, right? So I tried it for a bit, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Felt kind of too forced, so I just kind of kept it as its own thing, and I just happened to have that one video be what it is, right? I ended up picking up live streaming down the road, right? Because I only used to focus on YouTube for the longest time. And then I moved into live streaming probably a year after I started taking YouTube seriously because I wanted to play more video games. Like video game Let's Plays, they don't necessarily do very good as videos, right? So I figured, all right, we'll just stream them with the people that do like to hang out. And it kind of just took over from there. So.
Yeah, I actually I'm surprised. I don't know why we haven't talked about that, but like specifically you kind of recently, like relatively recently, moving on to Twitch. So like what kind of I guess started that trend? Like trying to stream. I know you said like you wanted to try something a bit different from Let's Plays. Was there anything else that sort of caught your attention in terms of wanting to stream on Twitch?
Well, when I was still like. I guess I still am now, but I was following PewDiePie for a while, right? I learned about his editors that would do stuff for him, and his editor streamed on Twitch. So I went to go watch what he does, and he was just really funny. I was like, oh, this looks really fun just to play video games in front of your audience and do all this other stuff. So I decided to pick it up too. The guy I'm talking about specifically his name's Brad Woto. He doesn't edit for Pewds anymore though, but he kind of just does his own thing. He does D&D, he plays games on his channel and all that. But watching him and just seeing what he does, I was like, that looks fun. Maybe I can give that a shot. So I just picked up a Twitch channel and then off I went from there. Just basically did what he did. We just play video games, right? And just talk with the community. It's really fun. Really cool.
That's really cool. And again, it's cool that you have such a big following of both platforms, and it's great that like definitely recently for sure you're adding content in both platforms. And as we talked about many times already, it's a lot of work, a lot of like full day work in the beginning, day work at the night, and then what's sleep as a result. But
what's sleep exactly?
But that's
just to add to that, like my work life, I've held the same job for the last 16 years now. Wow. I'm still working there while doing the rest of what I do. So
crazy. Yeah, that's amazing.
I just work all the time. So
but yeah, again, it's really cool to see how everything has grown, and going from YouTube, then eventually doing streaming, right? And I guess just to wrap things up before we finish off, maybe just to answer one quick question. The other question we have is Twitch streaming, YouTube streaming, kind of the difference there, or do you have any preference? Or
Twitch 100%. Back in like 2017, YouTube wasn't really equipped for streaming yet. It's very clunky. It still feels very clunky. There isn't as many features you get out of Twitch for the viewer and for the streamer. As a viewer, I think you get way more out of Twitch. There's a lot more fun tools you can use, more interactions with the chat and the streamer itself.
Mhm.
And the emotes is a huge part of it, right? They can
Yeah.
be universally used on Discord, even if you have your accounts linked.
Yeah.
And with Twitch, it just feels like okay, there's a whole what's copyright and what's not copyright on Twitch and YouTube, what can go and what can't go,
Mhm.
what bots will knock you down for, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stuff like that. I just feel like Twitch feels better, and they're more equipped for networking as well with your friends and all that kind of stuff. With YouTube, it's a bit weird. You can't really do things like raids or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I did stream on YouTube actually just yesterday,
Mm.
just to do a little test stream. It was fine. It was fun. I definitely was able to pull in more people, no surprise, right? Because my YouTube is the largest
For sure.
platform. Um, but still, like YouTube just kind of felt weird. Didn't feel very good. I had to go stream on YouTube when I got pulled into promote D4DJ when they were doing that English
Oh yeah, you were
name.
involved in that, eh?
Yeah, funny thing about that, I was the only like actual human in the group of people that they contacted to promote the English beta. I was like, I looked through the list, I was like, I'm the only person here. Everyone else is a VTuber. One of them was Ina of all people. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like when I saw that, I was like, I'm on like the same kind of like promotion level as Ina. I was like, that can't be right. Like, what? Right? So that was
Crazy.
it was weird, but it was very fun. It was very interesting. But yeah, D4DJ wanted me to do it on, or I guess Bushimo. They wanted me to do it on YouTube, and I was, yeah, that's fine. It was my biggest platform at the time, so it's fair. Because as a Twitch streamer, you're not allowed to stream
On
on
both, yeah.
Twitch and on YouTube at the same time, at
Mhm.
least, right? You're
Yeah.
allowed to, but with Twitch, when you stream, anything that's streamed on there, technically on everyone's clause, some people don't follow this, but whatever you make on Twitch, as far as like what's being streamed on there, it should be exclusive to Twitch for 24 hours before it's allowed to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But some people just throw up clips on
Yeah.
Twitter and post whatever on YouTube. They can't. I guess they don't police that completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I every once in a while I just kind of go over to YouTube to more or less promote or advertise. Hey guys, I do live streaming on this thing. Come join. Because
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems on YouTube for me is that some people just don't want to go to Twitch
Mhm.
because apparently it's too hard to sign up and make an account. It was just like, you guys, you just go to the website and click login or sign up and you're good to go.
Mhm.
But I guess it's just too much for people. So
Yeah.
whatever, right? So I
Yeah.
bring the
Yeah.
VODs over to YouTube when I can.
Yeah, I've made very sure that you I like for me like I very occasionally stream on YouTube. It's like maybe like a once a month or once every 2 months, and then most of my streams will be on Twitch. And I kind of have the same feelings with you. It's like it just kind of feels a bit more intuitive. There's a lot more kind of I obviously again just like you, like my YouTube is actually bigger than my Twitch, so occasionally I would stream on my YouTube just so again I could see what kind of people who don't use Twitch for a reason to watch and join. But yeah, it's again it's pretty interesting and just kind of mix things here and there and be able to get a following. And yeah, make sure for those Twitch affiliates / YouTube streamers, don't stream both of them at the same time.
Yeah, that restream program that keeps getting advertised, not a good thing.
Yeah, don't do it. It's bait.
Don't do that. Stay away from that.
Yeah. Well, Rin, again, now we've talked about Twitch, so let's talk about that. Okay, where should we follow you, and what kind of content we're going to see in the future?
Well, you can find me everywhere, not just Twitch, but everything should be labeled under rintaichou, not Rin Senpai. Also, please don't call me Rin Senpai to everyone out there anymore. I'm trying to get away from that name as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Or even easier, just call me Rin.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. Just call me Rin. It's quite nice. But as far as like future content right now, I just keeping up with Genshin at the moment. I do have something in the works for Love Live coming up, if anyone's interested in that. And I've been kind of waffling on the idea of bringing back rhythm game nights on my channel, just kind of revisit D4DJ and Bang Dream and all kinds of stuff. But just the same old usual stuff. Nothing huge coming up, but just, whatever interests me, you'll see it. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And all of Rin's social media, like the Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all that fun stuff, it's going to be in the description of this video below. And again, maybe even right after this live recording, Rin, you'll probably get ready for another stream soon. So
yeah, I think I am streaming today. I think.
Yeah. So, Rin, again, it has been a great pleasure having you join the podcast today, and thank you for taking the time to share all the stories that you had and just recollect a bunch of really cool stories and experiences, like especially with some of the stories that are a bit on the local side. Again, it's really cool to just see that all those stories and memories for many years ago. So and again, it's great to see and also see just the amount of success you've had, and again, all the best in your continued works and such. And I'm sure everyone vid listening will continue to support you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is a interesting experience for me because, again, I've never been a guest very often. So, hey, all right. So, yeah, thank you very much for having me on. It was very fun.
Yeah. Any last words? Any last shout outs to our viewers out there?
Shout outs. I can't even think of anything right now.
Shout outs to Umida then.
Yeah, you should get him on here if he hasn't been on here yet. Why not?
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, all right. But that's it, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to the RePHIL Studio for this episode. The set has been complete. Get your cans ready as we will refill to the next set on our next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure to check us out on all of your favorite studio platforms or podcast platforms. And of course, we'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, thanks all, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.